Welcome back to the Deep Dive. Today, we are putting on our musical archaeologist hats. We're going digging.
Digging is definitely the right word.
Yeah.
Because usually when we talk about music history, we look at the skyscrapers.
Yeah. The massive, undeniable pillars.
We talk about the explosion of Saturday Night Fever and disco in the late 70s. Then we, fast forward and talk about Run DMC and the golden age of hip-hop.
It's like we just skip a whole chapter. We assume one just died and the other was born from the ashes, like instantly.
Exactly. But history doesn't work like a light switch. There's a dusk and a dawn. There's this fascinating, murky, incredibly creative gray area in the middle.
The hidden bridge.
The hidden bridge. And to walk across that bridge, we aren't going to do some dry lecture on, the socioeconomics of 1980s New York.
Mm-hmm.
We're going to look at one guy, one song, and one very specific moment in 1981. We're talking about the track Catch the Beat by Tski Valley.
I love this track. But I have to admit, until we started pulling these sources, the chart data from Cashbox, the archives from Record Mirror, I didn't realize just how pivotal this song was.
Well, it's essentially the DNA of what historians call the post-disco Bronx era of rap.
It's the Rosetta Stone for that specific time.
It is. It connects two worlds that really weren't supposed to fit together.
And the craziest part, the guy who built this bridge wasn't some mogul or a big celebrity. He was a stock boy.
Just a guy moving boxes.
So our mission today is to figure out how a stock boy named Tyrone went from the back of a store to the top of the charts, and why this one track is the perfect time capsule of 1981.
Let's get into it.
All right, so set the scene for us. It's 1981, the Bronx. Who is Tyrone before he becomes Tski Valley?
Well, at this point, he's literally just Tyrone. He's working at a record store run by a guy named Brad Osborne. And this isn't, some generic retail gig at the mall. This is a neighborhood hub.
And Osborne gives him a very specific job, right? He's not just dusting shelves.
No, and this is where you see the first real spark of genius. Osborne tasks Tyrone with setting up a, quote, breakbeat section at the back of the shop.
Wait, pause right there. A breakbeat section in 1981.
Yeah.
Was that even a common thing?
Yeah.
Because I feel like breakbeats as a genre you could buy didn't really exist on retail shelves yet.
That's a great catch. It was incredibly forward-thinking. You have to remember, hip-hop was still very much a live thing. DJs in parks, block parties.
Right.
But Osborne realized these DJs were coming in and hunting for very specific records. Old, funk, rock, soul, just to get that 5-second drum break.
So instead of making the DJs dig through the whole rock section for one Billy Squier record, Tyrone was basically curating the ingredients.
Precisely. Tyrone was doing market research without even knowing it. He's organizing the raw materials of hip-hop. He's handling the vinyl, talking to the DJs, seeing what makes the floor move.
He's soaking it all in just by supplying it.
Exactly. So he's surrounded by the music, he's got the ear, and eventually, looking at all these records, he decides, hey, I can do this.
He wants to go from the guy selling the bricks to the guy building the house.
Yes, and that leads to the pivotal moment, the ask.
I always wonder about the confidence it takes for that. To walk up to your boss, Brad Osborne, and say, what?
He basically just asks, can I record some hip-hop songs?
Okay, be cynical for a second. Brad Osborne is a businessman. He's running a store. Why didn't he just say, kid, get back to work? Why take that risk?
That's the million-dollar question. I think Osborne saw two things. One, he saw the hunger in Tyrone. But two, Osborne was already releasing music on his own labels. He was an entrepreneur.
Mm-hmm.
He probably saw that this breakbeat section was the busiest part of his entire store.
So he knew there was a market there.
He knew the demand was real. But he didn't just give Tyrone a pat on the back and a cassette recorder. This is where the story takes a sharp left turn from your typical garage rapper origin story.
He booked professional studio time.
And we're not talking about some budget studio in a basement.
Yeah.
He sent him to Blank Tape Studios.
Okay, for all the gearheads and audiophiles listening, why does Blank Tape Studios matter? The name sounds so unassuming.
It sounds generic, I know, but the place was legendary. It was run by Bob Blank. This was the studio of choice for the absolute disco elite. We're talking heavy hitters.
Like who?
Groups like Music recorded there. The Salsoul Orchestra recorded there.
The Salsoul Orchestra. Seriously. Yeah. I mean, that's the absolute pinnacle of like lush, expensive, high-production disco, full-string sections, horns, polished engineering.
Exactly. So just imagine the atmosphere. You have this studio that is calibrated for the cleanest, most vibrant sound money can buy.
Top-tier everything.
And in walks Tyrone, the stock boy, to record a rap track.
That contrast is just wild. Usually early hip-hop has that grit, It sounds raw, maybe a little muffled because it's made on a 4-track or something.
Right, and that's why Catch the Beat hits you differently, especially with headphones. It has that studio sheen. It sounds expensive.
Osborne brought the whole infrastructure of disco and just applied it to this new street sound.
He did. So you have Brad Osborne producing. You have Tyrone on the mic. But digging into the credits, there's a third person, right? A kind of mystery man.
Yes, uncredited on the label, but crucial to the whole vibe. Glenn Adams.
Glenn Adams. And now, why do I know that name?
If you're a reggae fan, you definitely know him. He was a keyboardist for the Upsetters' Lee Scratch Perry's house band.
No way. So you have a Bronx stock boy, a record store owner, and a legendary reggae keyboardist all in a high-end disco studio.
It's the ultimate New York melting pot. And Adams brought that Caribbean feel, that sense of rhythm and space.
Mm-hmm.
But the real anchor of the song, the thing that makes you move the second it starts, is the sample. You have to talk about the sample.
Because Catch the Beat is the beat. It's built on the instrumental of Heartbeat by Taana Gardner.
Which was a monster club track in its own right, a huge hit.
It was. But here's the critical distinction. Most disco at the time think Born to Be Alive or something was fast. It was 120 beats per minute or higher. It was frantic.
Yeah.
Heartbeat is slow. It's around 98 to 100 BPM.
It's a strut. It's not a sprint.
Exactly. It's funky. It breathes. And for a rapper, that tempo is a luxury.
How so?
Well, when a beat is 120 BPM, you almost have to shout to keep up. You have to be percussive with your words. But at 100 BPM, you can slide into the pocket. You can be conversational. You can have swagger.
That makes total sense. Tysky Valley doesn't sound like he's panicking on the track. He sounds cool. He sounds like he's just leaning against a wall talking to you.
That's the post-disco sound. It took the instruments of disco, the bass lines, the hand claps, but slowed it all down to a hip-hop pace.
It's the Trojan horse approach.
How do you mean?
Come for the familiar disco beat. Stay for the brand new rap flow.
That is perfectly put.
So they wrap up at blank tape. They press the record on Grand Groove Records. Catalog GG7701. Does the world notice? Or does it just sit in the boxes Tyrone used to pack?
It definitely did not sit in the boxes. It became what we'd call a bona fide underground phenomenon.
Okay, define underground here, because sometimes that's just code for it sold 5 copies to his friends.
Not in this case. Underground means it wasn't being played on the pop radio stations next to Rick Springfield. But in the ecosystem that mattered, the clubs, the block parties, the urban centers, it was absolutely inescapable.
We have some quotes from the time. Stuart Baker, writing in Hot Stuff magazine, called it a groundbreaking rap song.
Groundbreaking, that's a heavy word for a debut track. And he wasn't alone. Critics started putting it up against The Breaks by Curtis Blow.
Which is basically the gold standard. If you're getting compared to Curtis Blow in 1981, you have definitely made it.
For sure. Piccadilly Records even described it as capturing that specific post-disco Bronx era of rap. It's so interesting that even then people knew this was a specific era.
They knew the sound was shifting in real time.
Exactly.
Let's look at the numbers, though. You mentioned Cashbox earlier. Why look at Cashbox instead of just, say, the Billboard Hot 100?
Well, Cashbox was often more granular for these specific genres. They tracked jukebox play and local independent sales way more aggressively than the majors did.
Okay, so what do they say?
In the August 31st, 1981 issue, Cashbox listed Catch the Beat in the East Coast Dance Music Top 10.
Top 10. So by the end of that summer, it's one of the biggest tracks in New York.
And it stayed there. Record World reported in December, that's 4 months later, that it was still selling well in the New York area.
That kind of longevity is rare for dance music. Usually it's churn and burn, a new track every week. Why do you think this one stuck around?
I think it goes back to that production quality we talked about. It wasn't just a novelty record. It was a great piece of music. You could play it at 10 p.m. to start the party or at 2 a.m. to keep the vibe going. It had utility.
It's funny, we often judge success now by, like, did it go platinum? But for an independent label in 1981, a record selling consistently for 5 months in the tri-state area, that's a massive financial win.
Huge. It completely validated Brad Osborne's gamble. The stock boy could actually move units.
But the story doesn't end in 1981, and it doesn't stay in the Bronx. This is the part that really surprised me, the second life of Tysky Valley.
The European vacation, so to speak.
Right. We jump forward to 1984. 3 years later, in music years, that is an eternity. Why does this song pop up again?
Well, the UK was having its own hip-hop awakening, but on a delayed timeline. By '84, electro and breakdancing were just exploding in London, so a new version was released, Catch the Beat, Scratch the Beat, on the Master Mix and BMC labels.
Scratch the beat, of course.
Yeah.
They had to add that turntable element to make it sound current for '84.
Exactly, and the British audience devoured it. It spent 10 weeks on the Record Mirror disco chart.
It's 10 weeks.
10 weeks, peaking at number 33. It even came back later on the Disco Top 85 chart. It was this zombie record that just would not die.
Every time a new wave of kids discovered hip-hop, they discovered Tski Valley. And that brings us to the modern era. Because the ultimate sign of respect in hip-hop is getting sampled, right? You borrow from the best.
The DNA test.
How many times has Catch the Beat been sampled?
Documented. At least 82 times.
82. Wow.
And that's across all kinds of genres. But the most high-profile example has to be the Black Eyed Peas connection.
Break that down for us.
will.i.am sampled Catch the Beat for his song Over, which is on his solo album Songs About Girls.
So you have a direct sonic line from a record store backroom in the Bronx to a global pop superstar in the 2000s.
And will.i.am is a student of the game. He didn't pick that sample by accident. He picked it because that groove, that heartbeat bass line with Kiski's flow is timeless. It just works.
There was also a remix in 2002 that I think is worth mentioning with Dimitri from Paris.
Yes, on the Peppermint Jam label. Now, Dimitri from Paris is a master of the re-edit. He takes these old disco tracks and just tightens them up. He doesn't ruin them. He just polishes the silver.
Just what did he do to catch the beat?
He and Moose T gave it what Billboard called an old-school contemporary feel. They cleaned up the low end, punched up the drums for modern club systems, but kept the soul of it completely intact.
And Billboard liked it.
They loved it. The Beatbox column called it cleverly reworked. And that's the trick, isn't it? To rework something without losing the ghost in the machine.
It really just reinforces this idea of the bridge. The song started as a bridge between disco and rap.
Yeah.
Then the remix became a bridge between the analog 80s and the digital 2000s.
It's a unifier.
So let's zoom out. We've looked at the chart data, the studio specs, we've tracked the samples. What's the big takeaway? Why does Tski Valley matter today?
I think Tski Valley represents the power of that transitional moment. We always try to categorize history into these neat little boxes. This is the disco box. This is the rap box. But Catch the Beat proves that the most interesting art happens when the boxes spill over into each other.
It was a laboratory.
It was. And it validated the idea that hip-hop didn't have to sound gritty or lo-fi to be authentic. It could be polished. It could be melodic. It could be recorded in the same room as an orchestra.
It broadened the whole palette.
Exactly. It gave permission for rap to be musical in that traditional sense.
I keep going back to Tyrone in that record store. I'm just thinking about the hidden talent aspect of all this.
The human element.
Yeah. I mean, think about it. You have this guy stocking shelves. He has this vision for a breakbeat section. He has the flow, but he's just there, part of the scenery, until he's not.
It's a reminder that talent is distributed equally, but opportunity is not.
But also that opportunity can be created. He asked, can I record? That's a scary question to ask your boss.
And credit to Brad Osborne for saying yes. History turns on those yes moments. If Osborne says, no, get back to work, we probably aren't talking about this. That bridge might never have been built.
And that's the thought I want to leave all of you with today. We walk past people every day, baristas, bus drivers, stock boys, interns. We see the function they perform for us. We don't see the symphony playing in their head.
Somewhere right now, the next genre-defining artist is probably scanning groceries or answering a customer support email.
Just waiting for the moment to ask the question. Or waiting for someone to give them the keys to the studio.
It makes you look at the world a little differently.
It sure does. Tski Valley, Catch the Beat. Go listen to it. Listen to that tempo. Listen to the confidence. And remember where it all came from.
From the back of the store to the history books.
Thanks for diving in with us. We'll see you on the next one.
Goodbye, everyone.